Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today on the website of French auction portal Intershare, and we're going to have a look at another auction by Vichy Auctions, one of the leading French auction houses regarding musical instruments. If you've watched any of my videos in the last few days, you will see that I've done a few videos on Vichy. That's because they have 3 auctions running back to back, one on the 28th of November, one on the 29th of November, and one on the 30th of November. This is the auction for the 30th of November, and this is the highest level stuff. So the auctions have been split kind of like lower tier, middle and high tier. This is the better stuff, kind of a higher estimates and kind of better maker, better condition, etc., all of that fun stuff. So it should be quite a good auction. So 25%, that's the buyer's premium, so that's whatever the final hammer price is, you pay 25% on top of that as a premium. This is a French auction house, so bear that in mind if you're looking to buy something and you live outside of France. Import, export fees, CITES restrictions, all of that fun. Just to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, like or comment, because it really does help quite a lot. So without further ado, I think we're just going to crack on and have a look and see what's around. 380 lots, quite a lot. We're not going to look at every single thing unless everything's amazingly interesting, but it probably won't be, so we will just do our best to kind of do a brief overview, and you can look at things later at your own leisure. I'll put a link in the description. If you've got any comments, think I missed something, please let me know. Otherwise this will be a 2-hour auction, but let's start off anyway and see. We've got a violin by Leon Mougenot, Mirecourt 1915, 357, length of back there, 1.5 to 2,000. So this would be a fairly entry level thing, might have even been something which could be in the middle tier auction, but it is a mixture of stuff. Violin by Emile Boulanger, made in Lyon 1925, 3 to 4,000 there. It's quite a nice looking violin, 357 length of back on that one. Going up a bit in value here, have a violin by Antonio Capella, made in Espino in 1981. This is a Portuguese maker. This is quite a well-known family actually, of makers, and these are quite popular actually, these violins. 5 to 6 is a very there you go, Capella Portugal is a very kind of good estimate for a violin like this. I would suspect that it would sell for a bit more than this, but yeah, nice looking violin. That I quite like the varnish that the Capella family use. Interesting scroll as well. So yeah, 358 length of back. This is something, if I had that kind of disposable income, I would definitely be interested in something like that. Let's have a look at this violin by Hippolyte Corsat, 1880, 2 to 3,000, 361 length of back there. Quite nice. 19th century viola. Let's have a look at that, bearing Baudieu's signature. 417 is a really good length for a modern player. 6 to 8 on that. Yeah, interesting scroll here, so that's a curious one for sure. Jenny Bailly violin again, we saw that in one of the middle tier auctions, but that was obviously a better one. Got another Causat here. Got a violin by Nicolas Viaume, made in Mirecourt 1850, the Stentor model, so not to be confused with the Stentor brand that you get now, made in China, based on a company in the UK. These are the original Stentor ones that were the lower model, but these are worth a fair bit of money. 6 to 8,000 on this. 360 length of back, kind of Guarneri-ish styling there. If you saw an image of the back of the scroll, there would probably be a tiny little plate here which said Stentor on the back of the scroll, but we don't have that image, unfortunately. Interesting. We have a 3/4 viola by Francois Mars, made in Toulouse around 1830. 365 length of back there, 3/4. That's kind of curious to see. I do like the stuff from the Mast workshop, so very interesting. Let's see what else we have here. An exceptional violin by Paul Blanchard, made in Lyon in 1876 in the Del Gesù model. 15 to 18,000 euros on that. 360 length of back. Yeah, it looks fairly nice. The only problem being, yeah, this kind of split at the front, but yeah, nice model there for sure. I think someone's probably requested additional information or pictures on this, or maybe they've just put it because it's a higher estimate lot, but that is an interesting one. Right, 18th century violin, probably from the Dutch school. Okay, interesting. 1500 to 2000, needs a fair amount of work there. 356 length of back, definitely potential there. 20th century Italian violin with a Pedrozini label. 358 length of back. Difficult to see what's going on there. Okay, violin from the Sacchetti brothers, made in 1932 in Reggio d'Emilia. 360 length of back, 6 to 8 on this. Not super inspiring to me, I must be honest. Let's have a look at a Czech maker here. Violin by Jan Kulik, made in Prague in 1869. 356 length of back. Certificate from Walter Hammer. 4 to 6 on that. Quite a nice looking violin that, actually. Let's see, we've got a higher level Charles Jean-Baptiste Colin Mazar pair, 8 to 10 on that. These are very popular. 360 length of back. Mirko Quattro, got a Jacquot here. Let's have a look at that. So we have a violin by Charles Jacquot, made in Paris around 1860. Okay, 356 length of back. It's got a Vatlo certificate there. 20 to 25,000 euros on that. It's a very neat instrument, not necessarily my taste, but I can see the appeal. Let's have a look at this interesting violin by Jules Galliard, 1874, 360 length of back. Looks fairly standard to me, to be quite honest, but as everyone knows that probably watches these videos, I'm not a massive fan of certain periods of French making, being honest. Violin by Giuseppe Tarasconi, made in Milan around 1910, 358 length of back, 25 to 28,000 on this. Slightly unusual outline. Once again, not really doing anything for me, unfortunately. All just my personal opinion, I must say, not based on any other information. Violin bow by Matthias Theophile August Barb, around 1890, 5 to 6,000 on that. So really hitting the higher tier stuff at the moment, which is good, and I have to say quite an impressive auction so far. Okay, violin bow stick from the Taut school, made around 1820. Ivory frog from the same period, 3 to 4. It's a bit interesting. We skipped one here which we should probably look at. This violin bow by Emile Auguste Ushafi, made around 1930, 10 to 12,000 on that. It's quite tidy looking. Let's see what else we got here. Really nice bows. Okay, a nice Francois Lupo. Violin bow stick by Francois Lupo, made around 1830. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Any issues? Nothing, needs a bit of repairing, servicing, but don't have any major flags on that. I think we're going to see a lot more really high end bows here. And yeah, speaking of that, very interesting bow stick by Dominique Pacat, made around 1845. Small blows to the rear of the rod, mortar screw and nut chips, increased fracture, good condition. Okay, let's have a look at this. 35 to 40,000. Really nice. Look at these cuts. I think are really nice. So there you go, a high level bow for someone. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, there's so many interesting bows. This caught my eye. cello bow by Auguste Lenoble, made around 1890. This needs a bit of TLC here. Quite like this head shape, 8 to 10,000. Yeah, interesting bow. See, I mean, we could almost look at all of these bows. There really are some good ones here. Violin bow stick by Pierre Simon, 1870, with frog and button by Dominique Picat, 20 to 25. Yeah, nice. Once again, needs a bit of TLC. Seems to be endless supply of bows out of France. Let's carry on. Right, let's have a look at this. Interesting viola by Francois Fent, made in Paris around 1790, with a Fent label 394. It's small-ish size, but it's not the worst. So, yeah, that looks kind of okay. It needs a bit of TLC and stuff, but not bad. Let's have a look here. A violin by Francois Gavinier, made in Paris around 1756, 5 to 6. Nice choice of wood on the back there. Got interesting F-holes. Yeah, that's not too bad. 357 length of back. I mean, all of this stuff is really good. It's a bit of a crime not to look at everything, but it's probably going to be very boring for people if I looked at everything, which is what I used to do, but I think it's better to look at a few things rather than everything. 18th century French violin with an Eve label, 353 length of back. Okay. Yeah, that's quite nice. Heavy wear, 3 to 4, 353. I think that's interesting. Okay, here we have a violin by Gond Frère, made in Paris in 1865, 17 to 20,000. 358 length of back, number 405. These are very popular. Pretty neat looking work here. Nice varnish. It's a nice back there, so I'm sure that will do well. See, lots of stuff. Let's have a look here. An Italian violin made in Naples in 19th century, made in the style of Carlo Loveri. Okay, 358 length of back. Okay, once again, not seeing anything super exciting to me, I'll be honest. Okay, so interesting, a violin by Etienne Vatelot that we hear about in regards to certificates all the time. So 356 there, made in 1983, 7 to 8,000 on that. Interesting, this quite almost sweeping scroll actually. It's quite, maybe it could be because of the high figure here, but it just, yeah, looks quite almost kind of swept. Interesting. Let's see what else. Yeah, so many really great French violins here, but almost too many to look at. Okay, so we have a nice violin by Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume, the man of the moment, made in Paris in 1844, numbered 1560. There we go. This looks like it needs a bit of TLC. Varnishes cracked a fair bit, but an opportunity for someone. I don't think you'll get many Vuillaumes this cheap anymore. Oh, they've even got a condition report. That's the first ever Vichy condition report I think I've ever seen. So that is that's an interesting one. I've never seen a Vichy condition report before that. Original bushing over a knot in the upper part of the back, lower part of the back join opened, a crack in the scroll, neck graft. Yes. Oh yeah, look, let's have a look at that if we can see on the back. A few other additional. Oh wow, okay, yeah, needs a good bit of work there on that scroll. Interesting. Yeah, look, I don't know if it's been dropped or something has happened to it. It's had a bit of a nasty time, isn't it? That's all the signatures and things you'd expect to see on a Vuillaume. So somewhere up here, yeah, look at that. interesting kind of like bushing there. That's really interesting. I wouldn't have even noticed that from the top of my head. So yeah, very interesting violin from the workshop of Jean-Baptiste Villaume. You know, most of these violins were made by people in his workshop and the famous French makers of the time, and there were quite a lot of them made. Right, we're on to serious bow territory again. Violin bow by Nicolas Remy Mayer, around 1850, 35 to 40. These are getting really quite pricey as well. Let's see what else we've got. Some good stuff here. Violin bow by Nicolas Duchesne II, made around 1790. I do like these kind of older 18th century bows. Are pretty curious. A whole load of good French stuff. Let's have a look at a cello bow, because I don't think we've looked at one of those yet. Interesting cello bow made by Joseph Alfred Lamy Père, made around 1895. 8 to 10,000 on that. Interesting scratch there on the head. Scratches on the head side, yeah, which I think is that, which is a little bit worrying to see, but probably is okay. Another Nicolas Duchesne bow here, 18th century. That definitely needs. It's got like a Kramer head. So that's, yeah, curious looking bow. Yeah, some of these heads are pretty mad. Gold mounted bow here, I think. Jean-Francois Deba. Right, we're on to page 3 now. Oh, we've got some cellos here. It's good. Maybe we might see a good cello. There's a German school one there. Oh, we nearly missed a ridiculous bow. Right, a very beautiful violin bow stick by Francois Xavier Tort, made around 1825. 80 to 100,000 euros. So there we go. This is what people are looking for. This is the Stradivari of bows, Francois Xavier Tort. So interesting one there. 59. I presume that's 59.5. It's weird how they put the grams there, but interesting. So this is, you can see this is a pretty high level auction. Cello by Leon Mougenot, Miracle 1927, 6 to 8,000 on this. Looks fairly tidy. Interesting half-size cello with a Galliano label. Let's have a look at that. Top and head probably by Lorenzo Ventapane. Sides and back probably by Gaetano Scarabolto. Okay, so it's a real mixture of things. Wonder if there's much of a market for this kind of stuff. A half-size cello that's like a composite. It's a bit curious. Interesting cello by Just Derazy, 1880, 12 to 15,000 there. Let's see what else we got here. Cello by Charot, cello by Bayer, all fairly curious. German cellos here. Let's have a look at this. An English cello. Interesting and rare cello by Benjamin Banks, made in Salisbury in 1792. Okay. Let's have a look at this. Really great English maker, and these do well at auction. Good value. Nice scroll there. Do like the Banks family stuff. It's very nice. I'm sure that will do pretty well. So good to see that cello at auction. Let's see what we've got here. More French. Let's have a look at this. Cello by Ambroise de Comble, made in Tournai, 1775, 1760. I think we saw Teresio had one of these instruments recently, or in the last year. Quite nice, 5 to 6,000. Wow, that is crazy scroll. Look at that. Wow, that really is like a swan. Wow, that is, yeah, that's a really interesting scroll there. That's very curious. F's resealed and recut. That's interesting. Yeah, curious. It looks like a lot of things have gone on with that. The estimate seems a bit lower than you might expect. 7/8 French cello there from the Salomon School. Actually, I wonder if we've got a little flower or something on the thing. No, it's a bit plainer. Needs a lot of work there. See what else we got here. JTL cello. Okay, getting on to big money again. Interesting French cello made in Paris around 1825-1830 with a Clement label. Nice back on that. Interesting fine crackle all over the varnish there. So that needs a bit of work, but definitely worth looking at. Okay, cello by Antoine Brubac, made in Rouen for the Klein House in 1889, 6,000 to 8,000 there. Seven eighths cello there. Okay, right, a Preston cello, another English cello, that's interesting. Preston cello made in London around 1790, 10 to 12. A bit more of a simple kind of affair there. Like London dealers. Small French 3/4 cello from around 1750, Chapuis School. That's quite cute. Currently in some kind of looks like classical gut setup. Right, another. This is the big one. Interesting cello by Annibale Fagnola, made in Turin in 1930. That's going to be popular with people. That kind of early 20th century Italian that's really rocketing in value. So we've got a few more bows here. I'm sure we're going to see some ridiculous bows. Yep, always. Very beautiful cello bow by Pierre Simon, made around 1860. For and signed Grand Frère. Okay, needs a bit of TLC there. Frog definitely needs some repair. So it's another bow that you really would want to look at in person, I would say. Let's have a look at this. Violin bow and stick and button by Jean-Dominique Adam, made around 1840, 8 to 10 on this. Let's see what else we got here. Very beautiful violin bow by Nicolas Mayer, 1830s, 20 to 25,000 on this. Let's see what else. It's an interesting bow. Rare cello or viola da gamba bow by Nicolas Pierre Tort. Okay, there you go. Another member of the Tort family there. Made around 1750, 8 to 10,000. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Fluting there, that'd be a nice bow for someone. It's interesting, you do see some of these kind of other Tort family bows, kind of older ones in the kind of Baroque styling, for a lot kind of more favourable money than the modern bows. Okay, heading back. Oh, we've got one other high level bow here. Very interesting violin bow by Etienne Pajot, 1820, 30 to 40,000 on that. That's pretty significant. Let's have a look at a violin by Amédée Dieudonné, because I've ignored the ones in the other auction. Pretty striking back on that. 356 on it. Nice enough. Not super exciting, but it's not too bad. Got a violin by Roger and Max Millant, 1949. We've actually seen quite a lot of these violins appear recently, which is interesting. Right, a violin by Francois Lupeau, made in Orléans, 1770, 1775, 8 to 10,000 on that one. Okay, very nice. Let's see what else we have. Oh, we've got another Capella here. Violin by Antonio Capella, 1976, 5 to 6,000 on that. I think I preferred the other one that we saw earlier, actually. Okay, nice violin by Pierre Hell, made in Lille, 1929. Another very kind of popular French maker. A nice varnish on that. 18th century viola here, replaced head, made in copy, 413. It's a good sign. This is an interesting viola, this one for sure. 3 to 4. Yeah, the head not so nice. It's obviously had quite a bit of work done to it, but yeah, I like that a lot actually. That's a cool looking viola, that. Let's have a look at another Charles Jean-Baptiste Colin-Mazin pair violin, made in 1877, 6 to 8. These are just gradually, I think, going up in value, or at least keeping the value. Let's have a look at this Lebert Humber cello, Mirecourt, 1940, 8 to 10. Okay. Violin by Émile Menesson, called Guarini in Reims in 1879, numbered 1069, 3.5 to 4 there. Looks like it's been stored somewhere where it's gone a bit mouldy, so I think that will probably clean up a bit, but 356 on that. Interesting violin. Right, another Nicolas Viaume here, another Stentor model. These are kind of fairly, there you go, we got a picture. You see this little shield at the back. These would have been budget instruments at the time, but 6 to 8 now, they kind of go for a fair bit of money. Let's have a look at this Paul L'Orange, made in Marseille, 1947. Okay. And a violin from the Italian school at the end of the 19th century, 6 to 8. And let's have a look at a violin by Frederick Boyer, made in Paris, 1962, 3 to 4, 358 length of back. Actually quite like that. I like these gouge marks and the varnish colour. That's an interesting one. And now we're on to a big ticket item. Violin by Carlo Giuseppe Testore, made in Milan around 1695 to 1700. Different restorations, added varnish, some worm, to broken sole on the restored table, so soundpost patch in that, 354 length of back. So let's have a look. It's definitely had a lot of repairs done to it. Let's see what the scroll looks like. Okay, nice from the side. It'd be nice to see the front of the scroll on this violin, because the Testore scrolls are really quite interesting. But yeah, there you go. Probably the most interesting violin in this auction so far, 90 to 100,000. Now we're back into bow central. Very beautiful cello bow stick by Jakub Uri, made in 1820, 1825, 35 to 40,000 on that. Let's have a look. Violin bow stick and button by Louis Simon Pajot, around 1790. Okay. Right. Let's go for something a bit different. A violin bow by Christoph Schaefer, made around 1985. 2 to 3 on that. And cello bow by Jean-Pierre Marie Pessot, around 1830. Actually, that kind of looks interesting there at the head. It looks almost like it's had a split here. You just see small check on the head side, and doesn't say anything, just looks a bit suspect there. Could just be a knot in the wood. Right, 20 to 25,000 euros. Interesting violin bow by Pierre Simon, made around 1876. And we're going on to the next page. We're only halfway through so far, so we've got a fair amount of time left to go. Rare violin bow by Nicolas Remy Meyers, made around 1845. That's a very nice bow, actually. That's a really lovely design, nice frog. High level stuff there. Right, we're on to violins and things again. Violin by Hilaire Darche, made in Brussels, 1903, 8 to 10, 359 length of back. Nice wood choice there. Violin from the workshop of Francois Louis Piquet, made in Paris, around 1795, so 1800, 12 to 15,000. Yeah, it's a good looking violin there. 358 the length of back. A few more French things here. The Bernardel stuff is pretty good. Gustave Bernardel. 8 to 10 on that. 18th century French violin, made in the Ouvrat style. Gersan label. 356. That I really like. I think this kind of violin, 3 to 4,000 euros, that's good stuff. Mircore cello, 19th century, 5 to 6,000. Varnish looks a bit interesting on that. JTL cello there. Another Vatlo there. Right, let's have a look at this violin by Hippolyte Silvestre, made in Lyon, 1850, 10 to 12. Another nice looking violin there. Interesting violin from the 18th century Florence school with a Galliano label, 10 to 12. Okay. Interesting German cello, second part of the 18th century, with an Albani label, 25 to 35 on that. Okay, violin by Charles Adolphe Mocatel, Paris, 1943, 355 length of back. Yeah, great scroll on that. Yeah, nice looking violin. Definitely good. Another Pierre Silvestre instrument there, 1831, 10 to 12. Varnishes had a fair bit of wear there. Let's see this Blanchy violin, Alberto Luigi Blanchy, 1941, 8 to 10,000. I think we saw one recently on one of the Amati sales, and also maybe Gardner Hallgate as well. Nice back on that. I bet there's not a picture of the front of the scroll, because these Blanchy scrolls are usually pretty nice from the front. Right, a violin by Claude Augustin Mirmont, 1879, 15 to 18,000. And we're into bow territory once again. Viola bow by Joseph Henri, 1865, 35 to 40,000. So significant stuff here. Interesting violin bow by Nicolas Remy Meyers, 1870, 20 to 25,000 euros. Right, beautiful cello bow by Francois Pacat, around 1850, 25 to 30,000. So it needs a good bit of TLC, that one. Vignon cello bow, 1905-1908. Onwards to page number 6. If you have a nice bows here, bit spoilt for choice really. The violin bow by Dominique Pacat, made around 1850, 40 to 50,000 on that. On to instruments again. Meercore stuff, more Corsin, more Jenny Bailey, or Bailly even. Trying to learn the names where I can. It's a curious one. Violin by Christophe Veron, made in Chambéry in 2004, 4 to 5 on that. Okay. Length of back 354. Nice kind of work on the scroll there. Yeah, that's nice. I like this nice instrument. I do like kind of contemporary stuff as well, and that definitely caught my eye. More JTL cellos there. Viola, a Gagini there. Right, Dante Ragazzoni violin, student of Biziac, made in Cortanova Vallasina in 1961, 13 to 15,000. Okay. More cellos. Okay, interesting 20th century violin, made in the style of the Neapolitan school, 6 to 8. Curious. Meercore cello there. Right, a violin by Gabriel Adolphe Thibault, made in Paris, 1838. It's had a lot of wear there, 12 to 15,000. Okay, violin by Celeste Ferrotti, made in Milan in 1901, 30 to 40,000 on that. Will need a bit of TLC for sure. Right, a nice violin by Louis Gasset, made in Paris 1768, 8 to 10 on this, 356 length of back. That's a nice violin. The Gersan stuff is really cool, so I like that. Oh, another Dante Ragazzoni instrument. That's curious to say. They're not really doing anything for me. Back to the bows again. Let's see what we've got here. Beautiful violin bow stick by Etienne Pajot, 15 to 20,000 on that. Rare violin stick and bow button by Nicholas Leonard Tort, 1795 to 1800. 15 to 18,000 on that. More ivory frogs there. Let's have a look at this violin bow by Francois Nicolas Vorin, 1855, 10 to 12. Prices of some of these bows are pretty crazy. Violin bow by Pierre Simon, made by Jean-Baptiste Villaume. Okay, heavy wear there on the stick, 25 to 30,000 on that. Interesting violin bow by Pierre Simon, 15 to 20. Moving on, right, we're on to page 7. So we are slowly getting towards the end. I'm sure there's going to be more crazy stuff. Cello bow here by Malcolm Taylor, around 1895-1990, for Ealing strings. Very fancy looking bow there. Actually really nice looking bow. Yeah, that is curious. This amber frog, really interesting. 4 to 5. Right, a very beautiful violin bow by Pierre Simon, 1855, 40 to 50,000 there. this kind of S inlay. So unfortunately in tortoiseshell, which can be problematic. Let's just have a look at this violin here. Violin by Nicolas Bigorat, made in Moulins in 1833. Quite like that, it's got some charm to it. Interesting viola by Joseph Gaffino in Paris in 1756, 419 length of back, good length, 20 to 25. Nice, it has the flower scroll, the kind of Le Fille scroll, so that's interesting. An Italian violin, end of the 18th century, probably from the Naples school, with a Strad label. Okay. Nicolas Viaume again. We've got a violin by Vizinaire Père, Lyon 1830. It's quite a nice instrument as well. 5 to 7 on that. More French stuff here. Violin by Andrea Castagneri, Paris around 1740. 6 to 7. Right, more Dieudonné. More interesting French stuff here. Paul Bailly. Okay, viola made by the Withers Workshop in London, so something a bit different. 369. That is got to be one of the smallest violas around then. That is absolutely tiny. That's like some of the violins get to that length, so it is interesting. 18th century German violin from the Albani school there. 354 length of back. Yeah, that's nice. I like that actually. That's got a lot of charm to it. Nice kind of varnish. So that one I really do like as well. 320. And a violin by Jacques Pierre Thibault, 15 to 18,000 there. 358. Let's see if we've got any other bows here. Okay, it looks like a frog by Dominique Picat there on its own, 6 to 8,000. So that's pretty, shows you the value of these things. Let's see what else we've got here. Violin bow by André Vignon-Fille, 10 to 12 on that. Another violin bow by Nicolas Rémy Maire, 15 to 20. That looks like it had pretty heavy wear there, and that definitely needs a bit of attention. Okay, rare violin bow by Bernard Georges Louis Millant, made in 1954, with a tortoiseshell frog there. Looks very neatly made. Okay, a few more crazy bows here. Violin bow by Etienne Pajot, 1835, 25 to 30. They have a viola bow made in collaboration between Nicholas Leonard and François Xavier Tort, circa 1785, so 10 to 12,000. You know, a very rare opportunity to kind of get a Tort bow for like a vaguely reasonable price. Cello bow stick by Nicolas Maire, around 1860, 15 to 20,000. I mean, the bows in this auction, pretty impressive, to be honest. Looks like we are on the final page. I wonder what we're going to get in the final page. Any more insane bows? Oh, a Sartre. Yeah, I was going to say we haven't seen a Sartre so far. Violin bow by Eugene Nicholas Sartre, 1920, 18 to 20,000. Very popular maker at the moment, and I wonder if we're going to get any interesting instruments. Another Jacques Pierre Thibault here, 15 to 18. These getting quite a lot of them in this auction. 18th century German viola, 3 to 4. Okay. German cello there from Mittenwald. Let's have a look at that. 1865 to 7. These are pretty nice usually. Klotz, let's see what else we got here. Right, an Italian violin, late 18th century, 20 to 25,000, 360 length of back. Just really wish I could see the front of the scrolls. That's just one thing I really like to look at. Violin by Charles Adolphe Gand, made in Paris, 1953, 10 to 12 on that. Interesting violin by Francois Lupeau, Orléans, 1780 to 1785, 15 to 20,000, 357. Another nice looking instrument. Okay, we've got a violin by Frederick William Chanot, London, 1905, 4 to 5,000 on that. And an interesting violin from the end of the 19th century. 3 to 5 on that. Looks like we've got a few more bows here to end off on. Violin bow by Emile Auguste Bouchard there, 8 to 10,000. And let's see what else we got here. More stuff. Another Sartre there. Interesting. Joseph Fonclause. Getting towards the end now, I think. And let's have a look. Oh, we've got a hill bow. Why not? Let's have a look at this. Hill bow, circa 1940, 2 to 2,500 there. And then also to finish off, very interesting, a viola bow by Jean-Francois Raffin, made in 2000, the famous kind of bow expert, 5 to 7,000. So interesting to see that. Actually, don't see many bows by him with a stamp there, mounted in gold. Yeah, interesting. And I think that is it. This is the Vichy, the last auction, the most fancy one. So not so many high ticket violins, I guess, other than that Testore, but bows, wow, like that beautiful taut bow and a few other ones, really quite interesting for bows. So I would just suggest have a look at the auction, see if there's anything that's of interest to you, any violins, bows, cellos, violas, etc., because there's some pretty interesting stuff definitely in the bow thing. I do like the Capella violins as well. So yeah, really interesting auction. Link in the description. Check it out, see what you think. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.